start studying, and Emily and Kayla, there are a couple of ways that you can start, and one of them I had you do was to look over the vocab, because obviously the vocabulary is really important. But in addition to remembering all the vocab, you need to remember all the problems and the different types of problems that you should be able to do. One way is look at the chapter review, and that was on page, what, 152? 152, and there are all sorts of questions. In your textbook, for example, in the chapter review, if you notice, on these problems, there will be write an equation for each line, and it tells you what section the chapter review is in. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Okay, go through these. Can you answer all the questions? Do you understand what they're asking? Okay, but sometimes you don't know if you don't know.
What?
Do you know what that means? You don't know. Oh yeah, I know how to do that. I know how to do that. You don't know that you don't know it. Okay? So you have a variety of things that you can do. Number one, if you've kept your homework in fairly decent order, you should be able to go back through the problems and go over problems. Do I know how to do that problem? If your homework notes are in good shape, you should be able to say, I did not know how to do this problem the first time through. I remember hearing about it. Can I do that problem now? Now, you should have all the correct answers from your homework. Yes?
Yeah.
Meaning we've gone over them in class, you've checked with your neighbor. If you didn't understand with your neighbor, you've asked me. That's how you study. You go back and you start looking at problems. Okay? A third way would be to start at the beginning of the chapter, and this is on page, I think it's 120, yes, 21. Solving equations and addition property of equality. Oh yeah, I know what that means. And then you just start going through it and just say, oh yeah, literal equations. Now why did I pick out literal equations? It's highlighted, it's a bold letter, it's written boldly. Did we do problems in this type of thing? The equation I equals PRT relates to simple interest, okay? And they're asking you to solve for I.
For R.
Oh, here, solve I for R, sorry. Okay, do we know how to get R by itself? Yeah. Okay, so another easy way to do this is go through all the example problems. Do I understand how to do that? Okay, solve each equation. And you may say, I know how to do those problems, I'm good. Okay, then how about analyzing equations of a line? And I'm on page 93. And oh yeah, do you remember this guy? Point slope form of an equation. Like, are there like a million different questions that I could ask you about point slope? Think of one. Give me a question.
Turn this into point slope.
Turn it into point slope. Okay. Or given, could I give you slope and a pair of coordinates? X, Y.
Find the equation of the line through 3, 5 with a slope of 1/2.
That's right. Write an equation of a line. Perfect example. Okay. So, and then it's like, well, I don't know what kind of questions to do. Well, guess what? The questions are right here. And hopefully you have homework that corresponds to that. Could I give you a word problem? Could I give you a word problem such?
We did that.
Of course we did it. And that's what I'm saying. The water pressure in the ocean is a linear function. Am I giving you information? What kind of a function it is? It's a linear function. And she wants to collect data for her research project that measures 27.8 pounds, inches squared, PSI at a depth of 30 feet. So do we have, what does this pressure and feet correspond to?
Rate of change.
Okay, rate of change, and what else does it correspond to? And are they coordinates? Okay, does it represent an x and a y? So once I have two coordinates, can I figure out what slope is? Yeah. If I know what slope is, can I write the equation of a line in point-slope form?
Yes.
Yeah. Point-slope form is pretty easy, isn't it? You know, you just, once you know what the slope is. Okay. Parallel and perpendicular lines. Okay, so the point that I'm trying to make is you need to kind of go through your textbook and take some notes. I'd like to show you what my notes did. I wanted to give you a model of how I went over. So I pretended that I was you, and I write the page, the section down. Yeah, sometimes it has a mind of its
Mine kind of
own.
looks like that. Kinda.
Okay, so I went to section 2.3a, page 128, and I wrote a note to myself. Remember to flip the inequality when multiplying or dividing by a negative number. I gave an example to myself, okay? And I just did the problem. Compound inequality results of combining two inequalities with and or. And I showed how to write it, and I did that. That's what I mean. That's how you study for a math test. You sit down and you write notes. You do practice problems. And it's, you gotta do them. You just have to do them. And I don't know how else to tell you how to study. If you have another way of studying and you're successful at it, please share it with us. I wrote notes to myself in terms of this. Inequalities and absolute value. What are the things that you need to remember? There are a couple of things. Solve twice. All right, when you have one variable, what are we using? A number line. We're not using the coordinate plane. All right, so, today is Wednesday, Thursday. I'm actually thinking of letting us, I'm going to spend one more day on your notes, because we went over your quiz, and tomorrow I'm going to give you an opportunity to put it all together.
Oh.
So tomorrow is, tomorrow is Thursday, Friday, okay? And so your homework tonight is to come in tomorrow with, I would say, let's look at how many sections there are.
How about we just bring in something that shows we study?
Okay, and then we'll talk about some other ways, because I need you to keep these notes in like I don't want them in your notebook as just loose pages or in the middle of your notebook. I want you to like have either a folder, I'll give you a folder, and you can keep them so that when you have to study in January, you've done all the hard work. So in January, when it comes down to studying out, recreating the wheel and going through 5 chapters, you're going to use your notes.
So let's
Okay? So why don't we,
Can't we just bring in something that shows we studied, like do some notes on what you think you need to know?
yeah, okay?
go back to another year.
I mean, again, here's another example of a notes. Solve twice. Okay? Now, do you think in these notes you're going to have something about common traps?
Yeah.
Yeah? Like I think that might be an important thing for us all. So I said I fell into a trap myself when I started following it. It was like, that doesn't make sense.
Can we just go back to the notes we already had? But we're missing?
Yes, but I want you to bring it in some sort of a form, rewrite it. Okay? Hold on a second. That was on page 152. Yeah, I think, Matt, you can stop. Thank you.